Welcome to this week's FinX Weekly Recap. In this segment, I basically go over all the names that are the top 8 to 10 names that are buzzing around on X to see what's going on, and basically to just do a quick technical analysis over them. You can see that Nvidia, Tesla, Palantir, and Hood, they're actually larger cap names that made the buzz this week. I think that's simply because of news that came out, catalysts that came out this week, and also earnings on Tesla, and then Palantir coming up earnings on Monday evening. So let's get right to it. Nvidia, honestly, it's not really doing anything. It's holding the anchored VWAP from the prior high. It's holding anchored VWAP from these lows. It's above the short-term EMAs. It's underneath this 193, 194, and the 195 area that continues to be prior supply. Once it breaks that 195, I think then we make a run to 212 or so. But until then, it's just kind of beat bopping around this zone, this 183 to 193 area. It undercut that, and that opposite end range is target. So we'll see. It just has to break 195 first, hold it, and then we can go. I'm not touching it until that happens. Tesla had earnings. I just covered the earnings more in detail in my video. It's at the end of this segment here. Is basically my weekly recap that I give out every week, that I provide every week. So go listen to that. Also, when you're done here, it's a little long in the tooth, so I apologize about that, but there's a lot to cover. Either way, Tesla, it's not doing anything until it starts to actually get some momentum underneath its feet. It's just chopping around in this zone. Don't waste your time, in my opinion. Long term, I think it's going to have a great year, but right now it's not the time. Palantir, a lot of people are pointing out this this head and shoulders, not reverse head and shoulders. Here's that neckline. This 150 area, 150 to 145 area continues to be support. Last time it did hit here back in November, it absolutely ripped off of it, but it only made a lower high versus all-time highs. It's now 30% away from all-time highs. We'll see if this area holds. Monday is going to be a mover. So I would be mindful. I wouldn't buy on Monday and hold overnight. Not financial advice, but I do not recommend holding into binary events, especially earnings. Hood, it's now spending time underneath the 200 EMA here. It's closed near the lows of the day. The 8 EMA, 21 EMA, 50 EMA, that's all pointing downwards. It's coming up to a psychological level. It's actually kind of at the psychological level of $100. This $95 really needs to hold. If 95 bucks breaks, that's a lot of potential supply overhead. Now, what could happen is it could break down. Fail to accept lower, and then just rip from there. But what it could also do, scenario-wise, you guys have to be prepped for it. It could break down, come back, retest, find the supply, all of this up here, and then start a new downtrend and create lower highs and lower lows. So that's a potential scenario to lay out. It does have earnings coming up on February 10th, so rather soon. This is a no touch for me on the long side. If that 95 breaks, it's a short for me. We'll see how quickly that goes. BE, Bloom Energy, this actually looks pretty solid. A nice little base here. You can call this, I think, a nice little bull flag to the short-term EMA. It broke this downtrend line on volume. It popped. And now we have another pullback to the 8 EMA, retesting this area. Bloom Energy looks pretty darn good. I would look for longs here. The trend is your friend until it dies in the end or bends in the end. Short EMAs are up, 50 EMAs up, 200 EMAs up. Looks pretty solid. RGTI, this looks like garbage. I hope you guys aren't trying to long this. This looks absolutely terrible. Don't go catching a falling knife. This is indeed a falling knife. It's 69% away from all-time highs. It broke this support area here. And underneath the 200 EMA, short-term EMAs are going down, 8 and 21, 50 EMAs starting to curl down. Maybe a quote-unquote death cross is going to happen in a few days to a couple weeks. This just looks bad. It is at a potential area of support here, basically. What could potentially happen, I see, is maybe it bounces from here, retest that breakdown level, and then finds potential supply from all of this here, and then it continues on down, maybe a little bounce there, boom, boom, and then it continues just to do whatever it does. But I would not go catching a fall night. This looks terrible. MSTR, I covered this in my weekly video also. It's breaking these lows. What happens now is important. What could happen is it breaks down, it makes a little oopsies, it fails, then it gets back above this level, retests it, and then it kind of has like a trend reversal. But really, I don't know, man. Bitcoin's looking pretty weak. That scenario's not at the top of my list. What is more so at the top of my list is it's retesting and then it continues the downtrend. The 200 EMA is down. The 50 EMA is down. It got price rejected at the 50 EMA here. I just think this is probably going to continue its downtrend. Just be mindful. Again, earnings is on Thursday the 5th. AMD, another popular one. It's kind of finding supply continuously at this 265 area. We'll see if we set a higher low versus this low. What you guys could do is put an anchor VWAP here and see if, oh, price is there now. Well, it's an area of interest. We'll see if that area holds. It's at the 21 EMA right now, which is inclining. It's got a nice pop. So we'll see if something comes of it and sets a higher low versus this, and then breaks out, or maybe it, chops around these highs and then breaks out to create like it's some sort of cup and handle. But triple bottom look here. It broke that like area of supply and is now retesting the area. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. If you want to look at kind of like the box, there's a triple bottom. It broke that and then it comes back to retest it. Around here, maybe even the 50 EMA, 225 might not be a bad idea. ONDS, this is from last week. ONDS failed this. It looked pretty good, but it got smacked. ASTS also getting smacked. These, again, these names are high flyers. So you want to be very mindful. Yes, people pump them on X. And when they are quote unquote right, they are quote unquote right. But when they're wrong, they go silent. So just be mindful of those people. Be mindful of these types of names, these momentum names. Yes, they fly. You can make money, but also you can get absolutely crushed if you do not manage your risk, which is, the name of the game. So all these names from last week, good God, Rocket got, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. So hopefully you guys aren't caught bagging in the bag, holding the bag here. They all, a good amount of them, looks like you should not be touching them or even short. IonQ looks like a decent short there. KTOS, yeah, these are, TSM is probably the only like legit company that might be worth any